Hi BookTube, welcome back to my channel. My name is Juan. I am just one reader and I am very excited because I am here today with a new original book tag. So in the past, I have created a lot of original book tags revolving around Broadway musicals, but today I wanted to go classical. So this is gonna be the opera composer's book tag. That's right. I've been thinking a lot about doing this book tag and I have just finally decided to do it. So in this video, what I will do is I will take some of opera's biggest names and I will be using those people to create some bookish prompts. So come with me on this journey. So the first composer is Bizet. Georges Bizet, the French composer who is mostly popular for having composed operas like Carmen or Le Pêcheur de Perles. Of course, you probably know Carmen very well. There are many melodies from Carmen which are pretty mainstream, such as the famous Habanera aria. L'amour est enfant de bohème, il n'est jamais, jamais connu de loin. Or the Toreador aria, Toreador en garde, Toreador, Toreador. Or there are many melodies. And you know, something that I think represents Bizet, or what Bizet represents for me, I think is the excitement. There is an excitement in his melodies. If you have watched or seen or listened to Carmen is probably one of the most exciting operas out there. It is one of my favorite operas because it is so exciting. Every single aria, every single melody, every character has a lot of excitement going on, and it's one of those operas that I watch with excitement and with joy, and I feel utterly entertained, and it has beautiful melodies. Ma mère, je la vois, et je revois mon village, son souvenir d'autrefois, de souvenirs du pays. It has one of the famous arias which made Plácido Domingo super famous. La fleur que tu m'avais jetée dans ma prison. Well, so Bizet. For Bizet, as I said, excitement. So talk about a book or an author who is the embodiment of excitement for you. For this question, I am choosing The Birds and Other Stories by Daphne du Maurier. This book is so incredibly exciting and fascinating. It is one of my favorite short story collections. There are some stories in here that might actually be more on the slower paced side of things. They might be quietly dreadful, but they are so exciting. This is amazing. Composer number 2 is Verdi, Giuseppe Verdi, another one of opera's biggest names. So Giuseppe Verdi has written many operas that are very famous and very beautiful. My personal favorite is probably the most famous one, which is La Traviata. There are many wonderful melodies in La Traviata that you might have heard of. The famous Brindisi, or the famous toast, the drinking song, Libiamo, libiamo negli eti calici, or di quell'amor che palpito dell'universo intero, misterioso altero, croce delizia, croce delizia al cor. So anyway, Verdi, to me, represents the popular, really beloved operas. So, go ahead. Tell us about a book or an author who is super popular, super famous, but that you really love. And tell us, why do you love it, or him, or her? For this question, I am going with The Phantom Tollbooth by Norton Juster. This is a very popular book. It is a staple or a classic of children's fiction now. This is actually the 50th anniversary edition, and it's a book that I only just read last year, and it became one of my favorites of all time. It is priceless for 1,000 good reasons. Composer number 3 is Puccini, Giacomo Puccini, and he has written some amazing melodies such as Madama Butterfly, Butterfly, un bel vedremo, or La Bohème. What's in La Bohème? Che gelida manina se la lasci riscaldar. Chi sono un poeta, che cosa faccio? Scrivo e come vivo. Or the very famous Gianni Schicchi, which is mostly famous for the aria O mio babbino caro, mi piace bello, bello, vuoi andare in Porta Rosa a comperar l'anello. So Puccini for me is all about exuberance, romantic melodies, this kind of wave of beautiful melody that envelops you. It's very romantic and very exuberant. So my prompt is, tell us about an author or a book, again, author or book, that is very romantic, very exuberant. It kind of envelops you in its spell. So for Puccini, I have to go with Lauren Groff's novel Fates and Furies. I know that this book is sort of divisive. Some people really hate it. Some people absolutely adore it. I absolutely love it. And I love, most of all, her writing, the way that she creates this very weird, vivid, exuberant, colorful, like actual color palettes in the reader. It's incredible the way that she does it, and you can actually find some interviews in which she talks about how she constructed this book, and she actually was thinking how to convey a certain color palette throughout her writing, and she actually achieved it. She is a genius. Composer number 4 is one of my all-time favorites, Rossini. Rossini is all about the rhythm. He has written many different operas, such as The Barber of Seville, you know, with the famous Figaro character, la 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 la, or La Cenerentola, you know, Cinderella. From Cinderella, there's non più mesta canto il fuoco, sta rosso la correggiar, no. There are many different operas and arias by Rossini that I absolutely adore, but what I think characterizes Rossini the most is the rhythm. There is an undercurrent of buoyancy and vibrancy underneath his score and his compositions. It's all about the dynamics, the movement, the rhythm. They're very fast. There's a lot of play with the rhythm and the speed, and so anyway, the prompt for Rossini is a book in which the rhythm is the most important quality. I am going with Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut because I think this book has a very jagged kind of rhythm that really works wonders for this particular story. The narrative is sort of broken up in a very interesting, kind of schizophrenic way, which again goes wonderfully well with this particular story. There is something in the rhythm of this book that is sort of melodic and sort of jarring and sort of wacky but wonderful, which is of course very well illustrated by the catchphrase "and so it goes," which is very sort of representative of this book, and it sort of represents that kind of jagged rhythm that is present throughout the book. Composer number 5 is one that I actually don't like myself, and that is Wagner, Richard Wagner. And I actually cannot sing anything from his repertoire because I honestly don't like him and I don't really know him very well or his material. But what I do know is that Richard Wagner is supposed to be, or at least that's my experience with him, an acquired taste. He is not very easy to listen to. He is a little bit difficult. He is harder to stomach, and so that's the prompt. This is an acquired taste. This is an author or a text that is hard to digest, hard to stomach, but maybe you like it. For this, I am going with Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov, the last book that I finished. It's a book that took me ages to complete, but oh man, this is such a masterpiece, like with a capital M. It is such a perfect, beautiful gem, a great shining piece of art, but it is not for everybody. Oh no. Composer number 6 is one of my all-time favorites, Mozart, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, or Wolfie. So Wolfie Mozart is one of those unbelievable human beings. I cannot believe that someone like Mozart walked this earth. He was so talented and so elegant and so interesting, and he managed to create so much and so he's just wonderful. And my favorite of his creations has to be Le Nozze di Figaro, The Marriage of Figaro, which is one of my favorite operas ever. It is a 3-hour-long perfect opera of hilarity, absurdity, ridiculousness, drama. The music in Le Nozze di Figaro is so elegant and sophisticated and difficult and yet seamless, effortless. And I think that is what I value the most about Mozart's writing or his composition, is how deceivingly simple it is. It's so effortless and so seamless, but it is so fucking complicated. So from Le Nozze di Figaro, you might know some melodies such as Voi che sapete che cos'è amor, donne vedete s'iolo nel cor. Or the very famous Count aria, Hai già vinta la causa, cosa sento, in qual agio io cadea. Perfidi, io voglio di tal modo punirvi, a piacer mio la sentenza sarà. Well, I love The Marriage of Figaro. I am so in love with that opera. But I'm getting carried away. So Mozart to me represents the most virtuosic of the composers. So you can choose an author or a book. If you're going to choose to talk about an author, then this is an author who you believe to be at the height of their powers. If you're going to choose a book, then you have to choose a book in which the writing is incredibly virtuosic. For this question, I am going with the one and only, the queen herself, Donna freaking Tartt, author of the Pulitzer Prize-winning The Goldfinch, The Secret History, and The Little Friend, 3 of my favorite novels. Oh man, I have this weird sort of admiration. I revere her. I idolize her. If I ever see her in real life, in the flesh, I would implode or turn to stone. I mean, I don't believe in God, but I believe in Donna Tartt and Barbra Streisand. Barbra Streisand is God. She's better than God. Composer number 7 is Donizetti, Gaetano Donizetti. To me, Donizetti is all about the melody. One of his most famous creations is the opera L'Elisir d'Amore, The Elixir of Love, and one of the very famous arias from that opera is Una furtiva lagrima. Una furtiva lagrima. And to me, that is very representative of the power and the charm of Donizetti. He is very melodic and very charming. So, show us an author or a book that is all about beautiful writing, a kind of writing that you find melodic or musical, something that tickles your ear. Well, if we're talking about something charming, something that tickles my ears, something that I find warm and melodic, there's no one better than P.G. Woodhouse. I've only read this by him, not all of it, but just a portion of it, and this is my man. This is my Donizetti. This is P.G. Woodhouse. So imagine P.G. Woodhouse and Barbra Streisand together, combined. There would be no war in this world. And finally, composer number 8 is Leoncavallo, Ruggero Leoncavallo. He's not one of the most important composers, in my opinion, not as much as the other 7 that I've mentioned today, but he is very famous for one aria from the opera I Pagliacci. It's the big clown aria that everybody, I think, has heard. The Ridi Pagliaccio. I think everybody has heard that. It's like such a staple of opera. And the opera or its composer are not really that famous. Most people don't really know where that aria comes from, but everybody seems to know that portion of that aria. So what I love about that aria in particular is it's very potent, it's very strong, it's very bold. So tell us about an author or a text that you find particularly potent for whatever reason. I am going with The New and Improved Romi Fudge by Julia Eliot. This is a book that I almost never mention, and I don't know why. I am saddened to realize that. This novel is very, very underrated. More people should read it. I actually decided to read this book because of Mercedes's review from Mercy's Bookish Musings. She loved it, and I loved it immensely as well. It is so potent and bold and different and bizarre, but in a great way. I thought it was just incredible and one of those really special, unique books. Like, I know that this book will not be for everybody. Some people will like it and some people won't. But it's a little bit like the novel Swamplandia by Karen Russell. It's a book that is so strange and so special that and so unique that you can say whatever you want about it, positive or negative, but it's so unique and so, it's just one of a kind. And again, it's very potent. And guys, that is it for today. That was the Opera Composer's book tag. Thanks again for sharing my insanity and my passion for opera and for books. I am going to tag, of course, Steve Donahue, Jason from Old Blues Chapter and Verse, Sean from Sean the Book Maniac. I'm gonna tag Lukash. I'm gonna tag who else? I'm gonna tag Kelly from Books I'm Not Reading, and I'm gonna tag Alex from What Page Are You On? And if you watching want to do this tag, if you like opera, if you like music, or if you just randomly saw this book tag, if you just casually came across this book tag, consider doing it. It's a cool opportunity, I think, to talk about two different worlds, opera and books. Thanks for watching. I am Just One Reader, and I will see you on the next crazy video.